Steel City. Is everybody ready to go? It's proclaim the greatest radio show.
Welcome to our Week 17 Steelers preview. I'm your host, Jim Stella, here with Jay Dash. The Pittsburgh Steelers are going to take on the Cleveland Browns in a meaningless Week 17 game. The Steelers have the number 3 seed locked up in the AFC. They are going to play the Miami Dolphins in the first round of the playoffs. Mike Tomlin has already said that Ben, Bell, and Brown will not play in this game. Are there any other players, Dash, that you would like to see them hold out or at the very minimum, only play, a few series or a quarter or a half?
Yeah, Marquise Pouncey, I'm not playing. De Castro, I'd think about not playing. Let's see.
What about the young guys on defense?
No, I'm playing the young guys. I still want them to get some more experience as much as you can before you're in that playoff situation. So I'll play Sean Davis. I'll play Artie Burns. I'll play Javon Hargrave. Who else here, though? Well, obviously, Ladarius Green. I don't know if he's going to be healthy or what, but I'd leave him out. Who knows if that dude has 2 more hits left in him. So those guys, I mean,
Stephon Tuitt.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't play Tuitt, obviously. With him coming off the injury, he might be healthy enough. I'd keep him out of the game. Probably Timmons, I'd try to limit at least. Harrison, I mean, he's limited usually anyways, but I don't want him getting hurt in his game. He's been playing pretty well recently, so Ryan Shazier's another one, man. I mean, this is a guy that gets hurt a good bit throughout his career so far. I don't want him getting hurt in this game. So, I don't know.
Jarvis Jones plays a full game and comes out and has 5 sacks, an interception, and 2 forced fumbles. Do you sign him again next year?
Didn't he have a good game in the playoffs last year or something, too?
I think he had a decent, few games in the playoffs.
I don't know. I don't think you base it off of one game, especially versus Cleveland, man. But no, I'm sitting as many people as I can be outside of my young guys, man. I'm letting them play. Eli Rogers is another one. I'm letting him play. And actually, he's come up. What do you think? Marcus Wheaton versus Eli Rogers, if you had to have one or the other.
I'll take Rogers just because he's cheaper.
I'll take Rogers because he's better, in my opinion.
Well, that too, but you got him on a very young contract where Wheaton's going to be moving into his second contract.
Right. I'm just saying player versus player. Don't even worry about the money. I think Rodgers is a better player. He has 533 yards on the season. I think Marcus Wheaton had 700 and some last year, something like that. But
yeah, with 2 of that coming in one game, 200.
And this is Eli Rogers, really his first season. He's not a rookie, but this is his first season getting game action. And he's been pretty solid. He's been inconsistent. I think he's had 5 games where he's really been a part of the offense during the game, while he has six or 7 games where he wasn't, so he's inconsistent. But he was coming back from an injury. He missed a couple games, came back, took him a few games to get reacclimated to game action and everything. So I don't know. Eli Rogers is a pretty solid receiver, and I like him in a slot in a 3 wide, man.
I like Eli, and he has the knack to make a big play. He's not afraid to stick his nose in the middle of the field and possibly get laid out. Everybody knows Antonio Brown's going to be the receiver who gets the 8 to 10 catches, whatever it is per game. So all Eli's got to do is catch 3 to 5 balls and make one of them count. And if he can do that, then I'm very happy with his production. As far as Marcus Wheaton goes, he was the only thing consistent about Wheaton was his inconsistency. So I don't even worry about bringing this guy back next year. I think that Eli be a much better option. And then you have maybe Sammy Coates. I don't know. He hasn't caught a ball in half the season. Or Martavis Bryant if the dude stops doing drugs.
Yeah, that's the one question heading into the playoffs is who is that other outside receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers for the playoffs? Because really, Sammy Coates hasn't done anything since, game 5 of this season, something like that. So in the future, it looks good. It could be Sammy Coates, Martavis Bryant. Who knows? They could draft someone else that steps up. But right now, that's the one question on this offense, really.
I'm looking to see Darius Hayward-Bay get more looks because he should be healthy by the time the playoffs start after he sits out again this week against Cleveland. I'm not going to sit here and say the guy's going to be a game breaker or anything. I just think that they have a lot of trust in him. He's been in the league a long time. He was a first-round pick. Has he lived up to the potential? No. but I think he was drafted a little high anyway just because of his speed, and the Raiders fell in love with it. So I think he can go ahead and be that number 2 guy. It's just a question of, can he get healthy, honestly.
Yeah, I'm not really excited about him as a number 2, though.
I mean, for a few playoff games, I'm fine with it. But, as a long-term thing, then obviously no. Could there be a more boring game this week than Cleveland-Pittsburgh without the starters?
Yeah,
and
I
mean nothing.
I really don't care about this game. I'm probably won't even watch the whole thing, to tell you the truth, and I don't even care if we do a recap of this game.
Ugh,
we should just do a 40-minute preview of their playoff game.
We don't even need to worry about the Browns. Nobody's even going to listen to this episode. Tickets are selling for less than $10 in Cleveland Stadium. If you're the Browns, do you start Cody Kessler or RG3?
Is RG3 healthy?
Yeah.
See, I thought he hurt himself last week.
Well, I mean, he's always hurt, so he has the ability to play from the last that I read anyway.
Okay, if he's healthy enough to play, I mean, I guess you play RG3, right? How long they sign that guy? What are they doing with him?
I think he has an option for next year, but the team doesn't have to bring him back.
Well, I don't think they're going to turn to Cody Kessler either in the long term. They're going to go out and do something next season, so just play RG3, try to get another win, I guess. Unless you don't want that win. I mean,
yeah, that's what was my next question. Do the Browns even want to win this game? Because what are they, tied? Or they have one win, and San Francisco has 2, so they will tie San Francisco. And then I don't know what the tiebreakers are.
It's
I don't
probably
really care.
still Cleveland getting the top pick. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, even if Cleveland does get the top pick, are they going to do anything with it? The last time they had a top pick, they picked Tim Couch.
Was that the last time they had a top pick?
No, they've had a top pick ever since then because they're garbage.
Well, actually, man, I didn't mind their past 2 drafts, I think. They kind of shied away just from drafting a quarterback every year and kind of went towards their line, their defensive line, their offensive line. So it's not like they've been drafting horrible recently or anything. I just think the most important thing in this game for them is have multiple ambulances ready for RG3.
Is Johnny Manziel a better quarterback than any of the guys on their roster?
Probably all of them besides Terrell Pryor.
So their best quarterback is their top wide receiver.
Yeah, somebody got to catch the ball. I mean, if you put Terrell Pryor in a quarterback, then you got RG3 at wide receiver probably.
Is Pryor worth a big money contract in the offseason because he's a free agent? Or is he just a product of, like you just said, somebody's got to catch the ball, and it's going to, obviously him right now?
No, I think he's a pretty good player. We've seen this season he's good, especially when they have somewhat of offensive output from the quarterback. He's had a pretty big season. I think it's more than just he's the only half-decent player on the team. I don't know how big of a contract. I don't think Cleveland would be smart giving him a big contract. He needs so much more right now. I think he could do big things in offense with a quarterback like Big Ben or Tom Brady or someone like that.
So he goes to the Patriots and becomes the best wide receiver in the league. Is that what you're saying?
Most likely, opposite of Michael Floyd. He'll just be beast.
Better than the year Brady had Moss.
Believe it.
Is there any interest in this game at all locally?
I didn't even bring up the page for the Cleveland Browns like I usually do for the previews, so no.
It's brutal. This
Yeah.
game, pretty much the epitome of nobody cares.
I mean, no one should care. The Cleveland Browns, the only way they should care is, like you said, if they have a chance to get the second pick if they win. So the only thing they should care about is losing.
Believe it. Any chance Pittsburgh's backups come out and just completely crap the bed?
Pittsburgh, yeah. I think this could be a good game if Landry Jones is the starting quarterback for sure. I don't think the Steelers are just going to go out and blow them out.
If D'Angelo Williams is healthy, apparently he was last week but didn't play. If he's healthy, do you play him this week or do you really just give Fitz Toussaint most of the carries?
I give D'Angelo Williams the start. I give him a few carries, see how he looks. If he's healthy and looks good, I take him out of the game, and then I give it to Toussaint and go from there. But, yeah, I don't want to play D'Angelo Williams too much. We may need him in the playoffs.
If Ben, Bell, or Brown played and got hurt, do the Steelers have any chance in the playoffs without one of the three?
Not without Ben, not without Bell. I think Brown would be your best shot if you're going to lose one, but I still don't want to see that because really, like we just mentioned, they don't have the number 2 that we want right now either.
Yeah, last year with Brown out and Bell out in the playoffs, you still had Martavis Bryant there to make plays in that Denver game. And I mean, I know we didn't win that game, but we seen last year with the Steelers almost made it to the AFC Championship game with only Big Ben. So having all three of them healthy, this is the most excited I've been in the last couple years for a Steelers team entering the playoffs.
And Marquise Pouncey. But like I just said, what was it, a week or two ago, I really wasn't thinking as the Steelers as a Super Bowl team. But now with all these quarterback injuries and changes in Houston, it's really looking like the Steelers have a very good shot. All they have to do is find a way past New England.
Now, we talked a little bit about this in the Baltimore segment. Would you rather play Oakland or Kansas City if Pittsburgh can beat Miami?
I mean, if it was Derek Carr, I might choose Kansas City. But seeing as it's Pat McGroin, I would have to go with Oakland at this point.
If you're an Oakland fan, do you feel like committing suicide right now?
I'd rather have Pat McGroin than Landry Jones. So if Big Ben went down, I'd hate the Steelers even more.
Any chance, and these are two ifs, and I'm not looking ahead because I know this Miami game is going to be a tough game. They obviously beat us earlier in the year. If Pittsburgh makes it to an AFC Championship game against New England, is there any chance?
Yeah, there's a chance.
The history between the two teams.
If the Steelers win, Pittsburgh fans will say it's still Cowher's team.
Yeah. And if they lose, they'll blame it all on Tomlin.
Please believe it.
Bradshaw will come out and say he's not even a cheerleader. He's just a towel girl for the cheerleaders.
Yeah, I think there's a chance. Tom Brady has torched this secondary over the past few years, but he hasn't seen Artie Burns and Sean Davis in full capacity. I think that could screw him up a little bit because he hasn't seen a secondary this good in a long time when facing Pittsburgh.
How many sacks did the Steelers end up with? I mean, I know they have a chance to get some more, but do you know how many they have as of right now?
I can look.
I think they have 33 and a half.
I see 34 here. You say 33 and a half. One of those will get fixed eventually. So around 33 and a half, yeah.
All right, and last year, what did they finish? Like 48, I think, somewhere around there. So not quite the output of last year, but the defense really did pick it up in the second half of the season. And really, when you can get to Brady's face, especially up the middle, he really struggles. So this Steelers defense, we said it a little bit ago. I don't think it was on this episode, but they're ninth in points allowed. They're ninth overall in yards allowed. They're 15th in passing yards and 6th in rushing yards. That's a lot different than last season. This Steelers defense is a lot different with these young players, Hargrave, Davis, and Artie Burns. Willie Gay moving into the slot actually makes him a better player because he's better in the slot. So I think if there was a chance, I know this isn't one of the great defenses that we had when Harrison was winning Defensive Player of the Year, but this also isn't the last few years' defense. And I think they're an opportunistic defense, and I truly believe we have a chance. Am I going to pick Pittsburgh to win that football game if we make it and do a preview show? I don't know. But I do think that they actually have a shot this year. Brady has played well, but with Gronkowski out and Amendola's been hurting a lot, I don't know. I think the Steelers can shut down their run game too, so LeGarrette Blount should be a non-factor.
You're right.
But that's looking way ahead.
It's not one of these elite Steelers defenses from a few years ago. What now, 5-6 years ago was the last time they had one of those defenses, I think. But I will say the reason they're in the playoffs this season has more to do with the defense than it does the offense. I'll tell you that.
Well, especially coming into the year, the expectations for the offense. The defense overachieved, I think. The offense underachieved.
Yeah, I think the offense really underachieved. Now, Martavis Bryant did have something to do with that. They were expecting big things out of him, obviously, and that takes away a lot. But, again, without Le'Veon Bell, this offense might have been one of the bottom 10 in the league.
Bell was named the team MVP. Now, I think both of us agree he shouldn't win MVP of the league, but do you think he at least deserves some of the talk, some of the consideration, considering what he was able to do over a 13-game span? Not even, because he missed 3 and then he's going to sit this game. So it'll be a 12-game span.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely. He has just under 1,900 total yards between the receiving game and the rushing game. He has, let's see, 2 touchdowns in the receiving game, 7 rushing touchdowns, so 9 touchdowns on a season. I mean, that's pretty good in a 16-game season through, 12 games you said? Yeah, 12 games at this point. I mean, he's done a lot, but again, it's only been 12 games, and that's why I don't give him the MVP. But I mean, everybody's saying Tom Brady. He missed 4 games.
Believe it.
So if it comes down to Tom Brady, then you might as well give it to Le'Veon, because that guy is truly an MVP. The New England Patriots were winning without Brady.
Now, Bradshaw called Tomlin a cheerleader. Tomlin had to play 3 games without Le'Veon, 1 game without Roethlisberger, won his division, got the 3rd seed in the playoffs. Belichick played 4 games without Brady, and I don't know how many without Gronkowski, and a few without Amendola. Who's done a better coaching job, Belichick or Tomlin?
I would say Tomlin. I didn't see Tomlin try to trip anyone. You know Bill Belichick is cheating in some way.
Is Belichick the best cheater of all time?
No, he gets caught all the time. He sucks at it.
He needs to hang out with Jesse Ventura. Win if you can, lose if you must, but always cheat.
What else?
So,
Good.
Who's your Steelers MVP? Are you giving it to Le'Veon?
Yeah, you got to give it to Le'Veon.
Pretty easy call. You think this guy could set a single season record in yards from scrimmage if he could ever play a full season?
He could, I guess.
He was close to breaking Priest Holmes' record of total yards per game, because he only played so many games this season, not actual total yards, just per game. He was really, really close to breaking Priest Holmes' record.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of reminds me of Marshall Faulk, and you remember that offense was really good. I think that this offense would have to take another step some way, like that St. Louis Rams offense with Kurt Warner at quarterback did. But you look at the guys that got the rushing yards, like a Barry Sanders and Eric Dickerson, they were all rushing, you know what I mean? Like, it was all Barry Sanders. It was all Eric Dickerson. This offense might be too good to get the 2,000 some yards rushing, if you know what I mean, but not good enough to get him to that huge mark of yardage like Marshall Faulk used to do with St. Louis, if that makes any sense.
If you're the Steelers, what do you do about Brown and Bell? Now, reportedly, the Steelers are going to have around 30 to 35 million in cap room next year. We've heard it a lot in the past few years since we started doing the show, how much cap room they're going to have, and then the season comes and they don't. I'm not saying they're not going to have a decent amount of cap room.
The thing is, they have the cap room. They just rework contracts and give the money back into the team, and they don't really use it in free agency. They're going to have that money, but it's not going to do much besides sign these guys, you know?
Well, that's what I'm saying. You're going to have to sign Brown long-term, I think, because he's the best receiver right now. He set an NFL record, or at least tied Marvin Harrison's record, 4 straight years over 100 catches. He's leading the league in catches right now. He's in the top 3 or 4 in yards, top 3 or 4 in touchdowns. He just keeps doing it year in and year out, and none of that off-the-field stuff, okay? Some of his antics on the field may rub some people the wrong way. But I think for sure Brown gets that big long-term deal. And I think Bell, they'll franchise him, which is around $12 million for 1 season. But I think they're looking to franchise him only to try to work on a long-term deal. So I think the Steelers want to keep both players long-term, but you might end up seeing Le'Veon take the 1-year deal and try to turn that into a long-term deal after that season. I do believe both will be back in Pittsburgh, especially next year alone. We spend a lot of money on offense. If you lock up that much money to Bell, Brown, and Roethlisberger, I mean, you really don't have a whole lot of money left.
Yeah, you just got to stay young everywhere else, keep those rookie contracts coming in. But Le'Veon Bell, like you were saying before, $12 million if you franchise him, that might actually be cheaper in terms of per year, because really he should be the highest paid running back in the league at this point. And what a franchise tag is an average of the top 5, right?
Yeah.
So really, in my mind, that would actually be cheaper for next season, and it makes more sense as well. Now, if you did sign him to a long-term contract, it might be cheaper next season because you backloaded or whatever. But in terms of per year, I mean, $12 million is probably less than you would if you signed him long-term. But it makes sense to me, too, because if this guy gets busted smoking again, he might be out a full season.
Believe it. I think the Steelers will definitely franchise him. I think that'll happen early, and then they'll try to work out a long-term deal, and then if they get it done, they get it done. If not, they'll try, in the offseason again next year, because we know they don't really redo deals in the middle of the season. Very, very rarely will they touch a deal in the middle of a season.
I think you can franchise tag a guy, 2 or 3 times?
3 times, but it goes up by like 43% each year. So if we tag him this year, then next for $12 million, then if we tag him again the next time, he has to get a 43% raise.
So it'd be like $18 million.
Yeah, it's hard to keep using that franchise tag.
Damn.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Well, that's what Adrian Peterson makes right now. Is the top paid running back in the league. It's either 18 or 19 million a year. Which is crazy.
Worth it.
Guy's not even playing right now. I mean, I know he just came back, but
well, they sat him the last game.
Yeah. Well, I guess they're hoping that he might be able to play next year or whatever. Are they in the playoffs?
No.
I didn't think so. How about the Lions-Packers game? I know it's totally off subject. I forget who Washington... Somebody plays early in the day, and the Lions-Packers game is either for a playoff spot for just one of them in the division win, or if somebody loses early in the day, then the Lions and Packers are only playing for the division in a home playoff game.
Right.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be a big game either way.
Do we have anything else about this Browns game? Because I really have nothing.
No, we really didn't even talk about the Browns.
Yeah, I know. I just figured we'd talk about the Steelers. Nobody cares.
I think we mentioned Terrell Pryor. Corey Coleman's a good receiver out there. I like Duke Johnson. I'll say that.
We made fun of RG3. That's always fun.
Yeah, what else they got out there? Anything?
Nah, RG3 stole his nickname from your brother, so I really hate that dude. Dude's garbage. I got nothing else. Fans, questions, comments, hit us up on...
Wait. Do you want to pick up any keys to victory or anything?
Well, our key to victory is beat the Browns. They've won one game all year. Do we really need a key to victory? Just go out and show up. If you show up, you should beat the Browns.
All right, that's your key to victory.
Diego. Yeah, my key to victory is enough players show up to play the game. My official prediction is Landry Jones throws 5 touchdown passes.
Oh, God.
Because the Browns are complete garbage, and the Steelers win, 42-0. That's what I'm going to give it.
Hey, Phillip Rivers couldn't beat him.
Phillip Rivers has a giant forehead and 50 children. F that dude.
Yeah, but still, would you rather have Phillip Rivers as your backup or Landry Jones?
Oh, I on the football field, Phillip Rivers, but as a person, Landry Jones, because I just despise Rivers and his giant forehead.
My key to victory is get out healthy. I don't even care if you win the game.
Leave the game with the whole team intact.
Final prediction, Landry Jones is going to be quarterback. 3-2 Pittsburgh.
They're going to get us for a safety?
Yeah. Landry Jones will just drop back and just step out of the back of the end zone.
Yeah. He'll just fall down in the end zone or something because he'll say he tripped over his own foot. Or that stupid beer that he always has.
But yeah, more importantly, we should be looking forward to Miami, or I guess that's who we're going to play, right? Is that guaranteed?
Yeah, believe it.
Yeah, so Miami, a team that blew us out earlier in the season, but that was in Miami. Now they got to come to Pittsburgh. I think it's going to be a little bit different.
Please believe. Fans, let us know what you think about the Browns and their horrible one in God knows how many lost season. Hit us up on Twitter at bet_the_spread. Hit me up on Twitter at betjimthewin. Check out that Facebook page at facebook.com/betthespread. As always, come back to YouTube, click subscribe. I know this was probably a boring segment, but hey, the Browns are involved, so what are you going to do?